How many of you are ready to tap into the abundance that's happening today in the internet economy? Are you really ready? Good, because over the next hour, what I want to do is I want to give you some keys for how you can tap into that abundance. I'm going to call that the e-abundance that's coming up for our electronic world that we're moving into. My name is John Cook. One of the things I do right now is I travel around the world teaching a course in entrepreneurial management called Money and You. In Money and You, we study the works of Dr. Buckminster Fuller. And Dr. Fuller talks about abundance in this great computer world that we're going into. So I'm going to explain to you why I think some of our old economic models talk about scarcity and are built upon that idea, and how this new internet economy, this new I-economy that we're moving into, I think is built upon a principle of abundance. We may not realize that yet, but they really are. So in the next hour, what I'm going to be talking to you about are the 4 principles of the internet economy. How is it, what's going on right now in the economy? I want to make some distinctions for you about what I see going on right now in the internet economy. And then 2 trends. 2 trends that you can use to design your web business or to come up with how you're going to tap into that wealth in this internet economy. And the key to that, and this is really key, is how can I be lazy and tap into that wealth? How can I be lazy and tap into that wealth? In fact, how can I be internet lazy? How can I be e-lazy and tap into that wealth? Because I think that is the key, being e-lazy in this internet world. And finally, once you've started your business, how do you keep that business going? So I'm going to show you how you deal with 2 of the biggest problems that you might face once you've started your website or once you've started your successful internet business, the business in this internet economy. Well, let me start off just telling you a little bit about who I am. Again, my name is John Cook. Right now I'm living in Austin, Texas in the United States. Austin, Texas right now is a tremendous hotbed of excitement even in the internet world. There's a lot going on, lots of .com companies right now in Austin. My background is software. And see, one of the reasons I want to talk to you about being e-lazy is because e-laziness is my passion. My passion is my laziness. See, in software design, what I like about software and what I am studying right now and what I continue to put out in the world is software that makes it easier for people to do what they need to do. I want to make things easier. I want to make it easy to understand so that when you sit down, you're going, oh, okay, I would understand how to use this software program. Yeah, that makes sense. Because see, do you like to read software manuals? I don't like to read software manuals, so that's another part of my laziness. I don't want to sit down and read a big manual on how to read something, so I want to design software that makes complex issues, complex subjects simpler to use, and that would be very easy, very intuitive to understand. So that's my passion. But see, my passion is built on my laziness, and that's the power of it, and that's what I want to show you how to do as well. Okay, let me start off just giving you a little bit of background on the internet economy and some distinctions that I think will help you as you move into this internet world. You've already seen a lot, but I think some of this may help you. The first thing I see going on, as I said, is this idea of abundance being built, our economy being built on an economy of abundance. Well, let's look back a little bit in time, and I think this will become more obvious why I'm saying that. When we look back, for example, into an agricultural society, that's hundreds of years ago. An agricultural society was built mainly on land. Who had land? Because land is what we needed for agriculture. We needed land so that we could plant our crops and so that people could live. And the person who had the most land was the person who had the most wealth. The land was typically handed out by the king, by the monarch. So the people who were lucky enough to get the land or had the political connections to get the land were the people who ended up with the wealth. If you didn't have land, you weren't going to be wealthy. So we were dealing with a very scarce economy here, and that is the availability of land. There was only so much land that could actually be planted for agriculture and things like that. From the agricultural economy, we shifted more into an industrial economy. And for most of my life, that's what I've known is largely an industrial economy. Now, in an industrial economy, we didn't so much have to have land as we had to have something that I call capital. Capital. I mean, we had to have, like, money. Typically, if we were going to start a business in an industrial economy, if we were going to start a new industry, we had to have capital. So we had to have the money to build the factory. We had to have the money to buy the machinery. So we had to invest usually in lots of machinery. We had to have lots of overhead. We had to have our factory. We had to hire lots of employees who would come in and work. So you see how it took a lot of this sort of thing. So the people who controlled the capital in the industrial economy were the people who got really wealthy. These were people who owned the machinery. These were the banks who had the finance that would finance factories and would finance buying new machinery and would finance all this industrial overhead that had to be. So the people who controlled that capital were the people who controlled the economy. And again, capital was a somewhat scarce resource, so it had to be doled out. But look for just a moment on the economy that we're moving into today. I'm calling this the information economy. How much information is out there available to you right now? If you wanted to find out something about a particular subject, how much information is available out there? I mean, look how you're getting this information right now. Am I sitting in this room with you? Did you have to travel halfway around the world to come to a seminar given by me? No, you may be sitting in your living room or sitting in your office and listening to this information right now. So look how much information is flowing and how much information is available. You didn't have to come visit me in Austin, Texas, nor did I have to come visit you wherever you are. So we see that information is flowing. There's much more information available out there. And who controls the information? Well, there isn't any one source, right? The internet isn't owned by any one person or any one corporation. So we see there's hundreds, thousands, millions of websites being created each year. New ideas are being formed. And see, this is what I think is the basis for our abundance economy, because the value of information grows the more people we share it with. If I have an idea and I tell you about the idea, then it has a lot of value. But if I can tell 1 million people about my idea, and they're interested to hear more about my ideas, then all of a sudden my idea has even more value. So see, I think this information age is really the basis for this new abundant economy that we're moving into. So the first principle I see in our new internet world is this basis of what I call e-abundance. Okay, so that's principle 1, abundance. Principle 2 is a concept that I call ubiquity. Ubiquity. What ubiquity means is that it's available widely. Everyone plays. In an industrial economy, like I said, well, even in an agricultural economy, the people with land could play in the economy. In an industrial economy, the people who owned factories or the people who controlled banks are the people who could play in the economy. And the rest of us were largely left to be employees in one of their businesses. But now in this great information economy, all of us have some opportunity to participate in the economy. It's a very, very wide open system right now. So information is widely available and lots of people can play in this game that we're calling the internet economy. Think for a moment about, let's say that you wanted to go out and you wanted to buy a new car. Now, how much information does that new car salesperson, how much information does that person want you to have before you walk in the showroom to talk to them? Do they want you to be well equipped with all the facts and figures? No, they much prefer that you don't know anything at all, right? They don't want you to know anything. What they want to do is they want to get you enrolled in the experience of buying a car and get very emotional about it and look how it gleams and then they want to talk to you about price later once you've kind of already internally bought the car. But see, with the internet economy, go out and see how much information you can find out about a new car. In fact, I'm looking for a new car right now, and there are many websites, and I can find out exactly how much the dealer is paying for the car. I can find out complete repair history on the car. I can find out what kinds of warranties are available. I can even sign into a chat room and see what other people are saying about the car who've already bought it. There's all kinds of information available to me that, 5 or 10 years ago, I don't know how I would have found that out. So ubiquitous. Information is ubiquitous. It's widely available and lots of people can access it. So that's the second principle of an internet economy. First was abundance. The second is ubiquitous. See that information is widely available. The third principle I want to talk to you about, and there are 4. The third principle is called customization. This is a marketing dream or a marketing nightmare, whichever way you look at it. For us as consumers, I think it's a marketing dream. Because no longer am I a part of a large group of people that's called a target market. And they want to try and figure out, if I am a part of their target market, then what kinds of things am I interested in if I'm part of that group? Now they can take it down to just me. So it's a target market of 1. See, things can be much more customized in an internet world. I happen to buy a lot of books from Amazon.com. I'm a big reader, and so I buy lots and lots of books. And now Amazon has tracked all the information that from what books that I've bought. So now every time I log into their website, they have a list of recommended books. Now, it's not recommended books for people like me. It is recommended books for me specifically. They know what kinds of books I like. And so they have a book list of recommended books that's custom designed just for me. And see, I like that. I like that. I like it when I log on, they know what I like. In Austin, Texas, in fact, the grocery store that I go to gave me a plastic card. And if I will use that plastic card every time I shop there, then they give me discounts on my groceries. Now, what do? Why do they want that plastic card? Well, that's because they want to know what it is that I am buying. Not what most people are buying, but what is it that John Cook is buying when he goes to the grocery store. Because then what they end up doing is, as I'm checking out, not only am I getting a discount, but they'll also hand me a little book of coupons. And these coupons are for items that are related to or that I look like I may be interested in based on my past purchases. So now I'm getting coupons that I would be interested in rather than for a lot of products that I would never buy. And in fact, it may turn out that the information that they're collecting on me may be more valuable than the food that I'm buying to them. So see, we see that in customization, in target marketing, now we can get much more close to our customers, and we can just have a customer that we're talking to. We don't have to talk to wide groups of people. So this abundance, ubiquity, the ubiquitousness of information out there, and the third principle of customization, target market of 1. Now the last principle is kind of interesting. Because I tell you what, if you look at the stock market and look at the value of all these internet companies going on out there, we can see that there's tremendous wealth being created out there. And there's a lot of people who are going, oh, this isn't going to last, it isn't going to last. There are these companies, there's no value there. How can they have these high prices in the share market when there's no value? One of my degrees, I have 2 degrees. One is in computers and the other is in accounting. So I identify with these people, the accountants who say, well, if you can't count it, it doesn't count, right? There's no value there. Because let's look at that from the industrial economy, because that's largely where accounting came from. See, from their idea, look at what creates value in an industrial economy. Look at what puts additional assets on our balance sheet, what makes our company more valuable. And that is investing in factories, investing in machinery, investing in stuff and all that kind of stuff that we have to have capital to acquire. And that's what adds value to our balance sheet. Now, what takes value away from our balance sheet? What about if we hire more employees? What happens if we hire more people? Well, see, then our value goes down because now we've just added expenses. See, employees are expenses in an industrial economy. But now let's just think for a minute about the information age. How much capital does it take to create an internet business? If you want to start distributing information, do you have to go out and buy a big factory? Do you have to go borrow millions of dollars and acquire land and machinery? No. I mean, probably if you're watching this right now on your computer, you have practically everything you need to start an internet business. See, the capital requirements are very, very low, right? Well, then what's the value in the business? Well, this comes to the fourth principle that I wanted to talk to you about, and that is what I call human value add. There is a huge value added in this company, but it's people. And see, that's what we see in the internet economy, is the real value for internet companies are people. But see, in an industrial economy, people are expenses. In an internet economy, people are assets. Well, how do we value that? How do we value those assets on a balance sheet? I can tell you from my accounting background, we don't know. Which is more valuable to an internet company? Having a big piece of machinery or having some